This is more about living in the time of the coronavirus pandemic. When it comes to news, the impeachment trial is the only show in town. It snowed here. We had the usual school closings and traffic jams. That was all a distant second. The virus is nearly forgotten. When I think about social change and how the future will be different, some things seem clear to me. Even with massive federal support, I don't see how the airlines can survive. Similarly, I think academia is going to collapse. Two things are simultaneously happening to a college degree. One is that it has become a nearly meaningless piece of paper, like money, and the other is that it is terribly expensive. In other words, a very bad value. So we are left with, every year, a fresh supply of clueless folks who are deeply in debt, the graduates. Good luck! I don't think that will continue. And there is the added pressure from the virtual or online so-called universities. They grind out degrees, anything to anybody. Same piece of paper. And so, true education is vanishing. Well, hell, this is America in the year 0 CE. A lot of good stuff is disappearing. Appearance prevails. Maybe all generations feel this, but boy, it sure seems to be true here now. The Democrats are now blaming tens of thousands of deaths on the trumpet's policies. That's not part of the trial, it's just a cherry on the sundae. And the rats are leaving the ship. A former press secretary, known as the Mooch, is calling him a domestic terrorist. As Nixon said, "Yes, Mr. Rather, and I beat my wife." There is some kind of a time limit on the impeachment trial, and that's a good thing, because you get the feeling that the Democrats could go on with this indefinitely. And they have so much ammunition, most of it supplied by the trumpet. The PM is staying in it by making daily announcements that he is staying out of it. He's busy, but he catches up when he can, watching short clips, and he said, from what he's heard, it's entirely possible that some minds have been changed. Not that he's paying any attention to it. Because of better numbers, the field mouse lifted his curfew. "I loved that curfew," he said. "I know it saved lives, and I do this at great personal sacrifice, only because I love all the people in my state. Also, if the numbers go back up, my curfew returns." The case against the trumpet is that he incited the insurgents, and for a while he did nothing to stop them. And that's all true. But the rampage was unpremeditated on his part. It seems that some of the people in the crowd came to the Capitol building with the intent to take it over and the tools to do it. And now some of them are saying they were acting on the orders of the trumpet. Yes, sir. So, a case has been made. The Democrats at the impeachment trial insist over and over that the day of the rampage was quintessentially un-American, that it was completely outside the democratic tradition. I don't see it that way. I deplore the deaths and the violence, and therefore the rampage itself. It got, as they say, way out of hand, as those things so often do. But I think that the urge to protest civil disobedience, is at the heart of what it means to be in the land of the free and the home of the brave. The people are supposed to run the show. The government is supposed to serve. The suits forget that, rather conveniently. They flip it around. The TV networks that cover the impeachment trial broadcast it continuously, without commercial interruption. That means, by itself, that this is big, it's important, it's history in the making. One thing, of many, that I fail to understand. All of the managers who made presentations went to lengths to say that the trumpet was doing this inciting for at least 2 months. They say it was crystal clear to everyone that violence was going to erupt, and most especially on the day of the rampage. Warnings and red flags were everywhere. If that's true, then how can they explain the total lack of security at the Capitol? Instead of having beefed up extra forces on hand for protection, for crowd control, there was next to no protection at all. How is that possible? Oh, was the trumpet behind